We're going to open up the series of hearings called for June 19th, 2018, in the Milton Board of Appeals. Before we begin tonight's hearings, I'd like Commissioner Prondak is asked to address the board and, with an announcement. Commissioner.
Good evening, Joe Prondak, Building Commissioner, and I'm just here to introduce to the board and to all interested parties here and to the viewing public a new addition, Ms. Beverly Sutton, who is going to take the place of Mary Fitzgerald, who moved on to another job within the town. Beverly is a Milton native who now resides in Weymouth and most recently worked with South Shore Hospital. Unfortunately, was the victim of the downsizing, and the way I look at it is South Shore Hospital suffered a loss, and town of Milton has a great gain here, and I think Beverly's going to be a great addition to the team and a great assistant to the board and to the building department. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank Mary Fitzgerald for her dedicated service over the past few years and for her continued support in getting Beverly situated. So, Ms. Beverly Sutton.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Welcome, Beverly.
Welcome, Beverly, to the Board of Appeals. We look forward to working with you. And on behalf of the board, I'm sorry, go ahead.
As do I, thank you.
Yep. On behalf of the board, I want to thank Mary for all her years of working with us. You'll be missed, Mary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And her cookies. Don't forget her cookies.
Okay, people's business waits. Commissioner, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hi, Joe. See ya.
We're going to call to order the first hearing, which is a continuation of a hearing that had been continued from April 19 and again from May 15 upon the application of the Mignosa 1983 Family Trust, which is the Milton Fruit Center at 10 Bassett Street. My name is Jeffrey Mullen. I'll be acting as the chairman. I see the applicants here, please. With me is Stephen Lumbaum to my right and Kathleen O'Donnell to my left, both members of the board. The Mignosa Trust had sought a special permanent amendment to the variance that was issued in 1982 to create the Milton Marketplace as a two-story shopping center. The applicant proposed to construct a 7,500 square foot addition consisting of 3,400 square feet of new retail and 4,100 square feet of storage and production space above the single-story portions of the existing building, entirely within the current footprint. The applicant also seeks to correct an existing nonconformity with respect to one side lot line setback with a distance of 6 feet where 10 feet is required in a Residence C district. The provisions of Section 4A of the bylaw nonconforming uses of building and land require that expansions of pre-existing non-conforming buildings must be authorized by the issuance of a special permit. So, welcome again to the board. As I recall, the last hearing, there were questions about the precise makeup and the breakdown of the retail and the new space on the second floor. There were some questions from the neighbors, as I recall, and then there was an issue the board had with coordinating with the planning board. So I see that the applicant is here, represented by counsel. Welcome to the Board of Appeals. How can we help you?
Thank you, Mr. Mullen.
You're welcome.
Michael Modestino, representing the applicant.
Mr. Modestino.
If I may, I think the most important thing we did was to get a new plan.
Yes.
And I've sent over an electronic copy of that, but I have one for the board for you to look at here tonight. And I think it delineates the separation between the retail space and the preparation storage space fairly well. And it also has some color photographs, some renderings of what the addition will look like. And we have
11 by
smaller
17s
ones
if
here
you want.
if you'd like.
The renderings are the completed project on the smaller version, not the before and after.
Can you tell us whether or not the plans that you're providing to us, other than being in more detail and clarifying the previous plans that you submitted, are they consistent with your application to construct a 75 square foot addition, 3,400 square feet of retail and 4,100 square feet of storage and production space?
Yes, with some slight difference. The number is actually 7562.
Okay,
When it was computed, it came out to 7562.
okay. Breakdown?
And the breakdown consists of 2660 in actual new retail space and another 4,902 square feet in preparation storage space.
Okay.
Now, it's important to note that in the renderings, there is some space that the fruit center is reclaiming that was used for kitchen preparation, and that is to the right of where the plate food preparation area is. That previously was retail space. Yes, it is, where the existing cafe is, there's some new retail to the right, but that is actual space that had been used for
Right,
retail before.
yeah.
So we're just reclaiming
It was
that
like earthly
basically.
possession or something like that.
And we're only reclaiming a small portion of it. So the actual new retail space are the two retail
These
areas to the left of the existing cafe, 30 square feet each.
What are those going to be?
Well, we hope that there'll be small retail stores compatible with what's already in the building, non-heavy users, not a lot of traffic coming in and out of theirs. We hope that there will be some suitors for that. We don't really know yet.
There's really no way to know at this point.
Well, are they going to be empty?
The hope is that they will not be.
Handicap that for me.
I'm sorry?
Handicap that for me.
I'm not sure if I
You're not
understand.
building 2,600 square feet to leave it open.
No, but at this point, we really don't have any idea who
Do you
would.
think the market's strong enough to lease it?
I think so, yes. To a small,
Reasonable likelihood.
yes.
Okay. I'm probing because I wouldn't be interested in permitting new retail only to be left empty.
Sure.
Create a nice little, okay. So you want to, basically, your application is to expand the facility, but the expansion is largely to support the current activities, with the exception of the 2660 in new retail.
That's correct.
You have an aspiration for the type of retail, but you don't know specifically, but you think that the market's strong enough that somebody will be there.
Correct.
And at the same time, because you're here, you're seeking to correct an existing nonconformity that was due to oversight,
Yes.
just time to fix that.
And I've spoken to Mr. Prondak about that, and it's unfortunate that it happened, but he believes that it was an oversight, and nobody saw it at the time until we got a site plan done and we saw it.
Yeah, I spoke with him as well, and that's consistent with my conversation. I appreciate you following up with him. What about the parking?
Well, the parking, if I may, I come up with, if the plan is allowed with the additional 7,562 square feet, we would have 24,597 on the first floor. The existing space on floor 2 is 12,300, and with the new proposed space, another 7,562, be a total of 19,862 on floor 2. That would give us a grand total of 44,459. I compute that out to be 177.836 parking spaces, or 178 parking spaces. We have 189 parking spaces now, and that's not even considering the parking stackers that will increase the parking by an additional 10 spaces. So we feel that we have adequate parking for it now.
How many spaces do you have now?
189.
Is that included, that doesn't include the municipal lot?
It does not. That's an additional 34 spaces that is not, that would bring it up to, I think, 222.
So property that you own in fee, not you personally, the trust owns in fee, 189 spaces?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and have you been to the planning board?
We've not been to the planning board. We've been to the planning board on the parking stacker portion, and we have obtained site plan approval on that. I have had conversation with Mr. Clark about it, and it it was felt that we should handle the ZBA part of it and then get before the planning board. There's also some other things, just so you know, that we want to, Michael has made sure that he's told the neighbors, he's been emailing with them and meeting with them about all plans that are going on at the Milton Marketplace, and there is a plan to reconfigure the parking lot, a section of the parking lot, to make the traffic flow better and to actually make it safer so that we have pavers in front of the store that is going to slow down pedestrian traffic. And that is in the works now, and, you know, we should be coming before a planning board on that matter as well.
Questions of the applicant by the board?
Actually, this new, you show new retail here of 1353, but that actually is old. I mean, that was retail.
That's actually old. It's not new space.
Yeah. And then, okay, you've got the existing prep space, which you're still keeping. Okay. Sort of seeing my notes from the last time. So you're moving the cook prep was in the old retail space to someplace else, over here.
Right, it should be, is it labeled on that, to
Yeah.
the left?
Smaller plan.
Okay.
So this is your rendering here
Yes.
and here. This is existing, and that's not changing here, right? In the back lot here, this,
The renderings on the smaller scales, these 11 by 17s, are the finished product.
what am
This
I,
has a before and after on it, the large. I couldn't get it on the small one. If you flip through the pages, you have before and afters. This is a before, this is after. Flip through these pages, they'll all
On this
have
one,
the color.
Steve, on the big one.
You guys have a copy of it as well here.
So this existing,
I've driven a lot, a couple times since you were last here. But my question is, to the rear, this doesn't change, or this is part of the addition over this loading dock? Is that right?
Which page
Yes.
do you want?
This, I guess it's the
A3-2.
A32.
Next one, Tony.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the loading dock here.
Yep, that was
Yes,
my question.
that's all over the loading dock. That's the second level up over the loading dock. That's existing the way it looks now. with the-
Okay. And what's on the next page? Anything else?
This is the best shot we could get from the street for the back of the building. That's what it looks like now. What we could get, we couldn't go in the neighbor's yard, well, didn't want to go in the neighbor's yard and what have you. That's the best shot I could get as far as the picture is concerned. And then that's it with the addition. So this is what it looks like now. This is,
You know who this is? Was he here at the last meeting?
I don't think so.
I don't
No.
know who that is. And then that's a shot, which is kind of hard to visualize anything from this one here. It's far, it doesn't really give you an angle of it. It just shows you this little tip of the roof here where it's not there. We just wanted to get a shot coming down from there. So there's not much of a change coming from that angle.
So actually, you're sort of hiding the mechanicals more than you have existing now, right?
Yes.
You want to explain the roof
Why
line?
don't you explain the roof line and,
Well, the whole second level will have a residential feel to it. As you see, we're gonna have clapboard windows with shutters. And what we're doing up here is, this is a small, what they call mansard, okay? A small extension of the roof. Behind this
Yeah.
is where all the mechanical will be. So it'll not only screen it, it'll help with noise or anything like that. So basically, from any point, even a second level in a residential home, looking across, you won't see any mechanical.
Is any of the a footprint of the improvements is expanding in any way, other than the Other than the
other
correction
than
of...
the second floor, no.
Okay.
Footprint's the same.
And let me just take care of some housekeeping. I should have attended to this before. We do have an email here that came in on Saturday to Beverly. I'm just going to read it into the record. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have not.
Maybe provide that to the applicant. Please forward our concern to Jeff Mullen, R.E. Mignosa, agenda item. The neighborhood would require that they install a state-of-the-art system to mitigate food smells that permeate throughout the neighborhood, Franklin Street, et cetera, when they or the Plate Restaurant are preparing food. We are bombarded with overwhelming smells in the morning hours and need to close windows, impeding our quality of life. If they are looking to increase their kitchen space, this is a must. This is something we asked of Mr. Chan's and most recently of Novara Restaurant with positive results. Thank you. And that is from Carol Joyce Harrington. I don't have the address, I apologize. So just enter that into the record. Let me ask you, have you shared these plans with the neighbors?
Yes.
Okay. Can you, I'm going to ask the neighbors to speak for themselves if they're here, but can you give us some reaction to what the status of the neighborhood outreach is?
So I not long ago, actually maybe a month ago or so, we had actually delivered a letter to each house and all the abutters, asking for their email information, if they wanted to be kept abreast of the project and what we were planning to do. A number of them reached back to me and gave me their information. So I've been emailing them updates as to where we are with the plans, stages, and then last week I emailed them all these pictures and floor plans and whatnot. And then this past Saturday, we had a open house, so if you will, at our office, and anyone who wanted to come by and go over the plans and have questions answered or concerns addressed, we spoke for about an hour or so with about 4 of the neighbors, and by and large, the feedback was fairly positive.
I think they were more concerned about timing of the project.
And of course,
We'll talk about that. What is that? What's the status of that?
it's very difficult to say, because with the approval of the lifts, that's the first thing that we want to address, and before we do that, we really need to re-landscape the entire rear parking lot as part of our plan. So that's the first thing we need to do, and that may or may not happen till the fall. In addition to that, we hope to redesign the parking lot at some point. That can really only be done in the month of August, which is our quietest time of year. So if we can't do it this year, that'll get pushed till next August, and this is kind of far behind that. So this is a couple of years out, I would guess.
This work?
If we can get the parking lot done soon, then it'll be sooner, but if we can't, that, like I said, that's our first priority, and the addition is a distant second priority.
You're going to need to do the work in a variance within 1 year of granting, so.
Okay.
It's a special permit.
It feels to me like you're collecting your approval so that you can execute on several things. There's a master plan going on here. Is that fair? I mean, you've got your stackers, the renovation to the parking lot, these improvements. I mean, there's a fair bit of work coming up at this facility.
There is, and we actually maybe bit off a little bit more than we should have in one bite, but here we are.
Okay. Questions, additional questions, I'm going to ask the members of the audience if they'd like to address it, unless the board has questions at this time.
If they're seeking a special permit, not a.
It's an amendment to the variance, right, and a special permit.
Well, for the construction,
Yeah.
it's a special permit, so are they constricted as to when they have to go on the?
You know, I don't know, I'm assuming that because there's an amendment to the variance, we're going to have a variance standard overriding, you know?
But is the amendment to the variance for,
I
this
believe the
particular-
size of the facility,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
because yeah.
That's just, I guess it
Let me
is.
ask if there's anybody in the audience who'd like to speak in favor of the application at this time. Hearing none. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak opposed to the application? Anybody have any? Yes, sir. Approach. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Peter Dunn. I live at 84 Franklin Street. I don't think I would say it's
Sorry,
necessary.
Mr. Dunn, could you tell us where 84 Franklin is with respect to the facility?
Sure. If you go down Franklin Street, the property abuts basically three-quarters of the way down Franklin Street. I'm probably the 2 houses down from where that rear property line is.
Okay.
So there's kind of a U that goes around from Franklin to Church and Wood, and then around to Antwerp that kind of goes around. So that's the principal group, I think, of people who are affected here. I'm not necessarily opposed, and I think the McNoses have been very communicative with the neighborhood, and I commend them for that. I do have some questions, I think, more along the aesthetic side, and some, I think, some more nuts and bolts questions, some of which Michael's addressed to me via email. I guess one is just the height. It looks like it's following the existing roof line, so I assume that that's okay.
I don't have them.
If anything, it'd be lower than the highest point of the roof.
Okay.
It will no point higher. If anything, it comes in lower,
41 Franklin, thank you.
highest point of the existing roof now.
Okay.
Let me just, Mr. Dunn, it's a good question. I just want to clarify that we're just a Board of Appeals, the lowly Board of Appeals. The elected planning board will do a more detailed review of site plan review, and they'll get into some of these details. With respect to the height, the only way that the Board of Appeals, other than its overall appearance and general compatibility with the neighborhood, which is part of our charge, we're really concerned with whether or not it complies with the height limitation in the zoning bylaw. So I think it's a fair question for now, but I want you to know that there's another proceeding that would follow this proceeding where the details of the design will be discussed in much greater depth. Because they'll be subject to site plan review.
Okay.
I believe that's true, is it not? Yes. So go ahead. But continue with your question.
I had 2 more pages about paint color.
No, that's fine. It's good. It's good. They like brown paint, obviously.
No, so I guess most of it would really be for that second hearing. I would like to say.
I don't want to discourage you from asking questions, though, and I didn't mean to do
Well,
that
I just,
at all.
with
wanted
respect to the
clarify what-
6-foot piece of it, and really the way that it comes down Franklin Street, the rendition or the rendering that I have, I don't know if it's part of what you folks got, but it's.
We have
that's
that.
Yeah.
Basically there. I mean, my concern is just that it's really close to the property line. It seems really high. If you look at some of the other pictures, like this one, you can see that this middle part, where the roof is set back and the windows start kind of further back, that I just feel something like that, it wouldn't feel like it's a wall hanging over the fence, basically.
Applicant, do you have a comment on the design, the rear design? The rear elevation?
How do you want me to respond to that? The way it is, the way it's drawn here is, this wall is even with the wall below. There'll probably be a break at that point, a little, I'll say water table or something to break it up, so it doesn't look like one long wall coming down. It's still, with the mansard, is lower than this peak here, which isn't the highest peak either. The highest peak is even higher than that for the main building. But to try to dress it up with, like I said, shutters and an overhang on this, by bringing this overhang out, it softens and lowers the overall height of this wall, because the further out we come with that overhang, it drops down on the exterior wall. So basically, it's going to be a very residential-looking wall back there, and it's not going to be just a straight flat wall with a return to the flat roof. And again, going back over, this is designed that way so that it does screen even anything from second-floor windows looking across, so that we don't see any mechanical. And it will work for sound, smell, all that stuff. It'll redirect that, but as far as equipment is concerned, and that, I can't speak technically on all the fan systems and HVAC equipment that'll be installed there, but a lot of it will be new as far as that's concerned. And we'll comply to today's, because there are standards and codes that we have to comply to with that in mind. Sound, noise, smell,
Right, and what I'm saying is if you look at this setback here, I was pointing it towards these folks earlier, but if you look at that setback there, I think that feels less intrusive than this does, even with the, I think, residential accoutrements, so, just aesthetically, but apparently that's for a different hearing.
It will be discussed in site plan review.
Okay. Other than that, other concerns that I had, I've addressed directly with the applicant, and I feel like we're on the same page with a lot of these items. Downlighting is something that we talked about. The cooking and the prep is something that's been addressed. I think the nature of the tenants that would go in there would be something to think about in terms of what the activities would be up there and whether or not we get a tenant has been expressed. Those are the principal concerns that I've had. I've knocked on probably about 15 doors in the last 2 days, so.
And?
That's what you're hearing is what I told you is what I'm hearing.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak to the board on this matter this time? Okay. Let me ask the applicant if they have a reaction to Ms. Joyce Harrington's request for mitigation of food smells.
Well, I think we hadn't considered it before, and I didn't realize it was a problem, but certainly something we can definitely look at. And as Tony said, the codes are a little different now anyway, so I'm certain that we'd have to put in systems that would mitigate that to a large extent, and certainly something we'd have to investigate.
Yeah, so this is something I do think goes to the board's purview, given the fact that it's partly in a residential neighborhood, and your behavior and Mr. Dunn's testimony is supporting the outreach that you've done, for which we commend you, but we also will want to take the opportunity to confirm what appears to me to be an emerging standard over in East Milton Square, with it being done at both Mr. Chan's and Novara, and according to Ms. Joyce Harrington, with some success. Now, that's the first time I've heard that, but I think it's a positive request, and I'd encourage you to embrace it. Let me ask the board members if they've got any further questions of the applicant.
Is there any consideration with respect to what Mr. Dunn was talking about, as far as the use, this proposed retail use? I'm thinking out loud about whether or not it'd be necessary to have a condition that would restrict the type of use to retail, or did you have any thoughts, any contemplation over a consideration for any professional type office use if it came to pass that your ability to get a retail tenant in there wasn't working out over an extended period of time? Is that something you've thought about? And to the board, is that something we should think about and address, perhaps as a condition, one way or the other?
I think it's harder to find an office use than it's going to be to find a retail one. There's office space all over town that's going begging.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Dunn, but I assume that he's less concerned about the type of user, but the hours of operation?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn, is that true? When you said that you were concerned about the user of the retail spaces, were you concerned about the actual user or the hours of operation?
I think both would be a concern.
Both.
So, if it was discounted cigarettes or something like that, that would be a concern. I don't think we'd probably see that, but.
I don't think that's permitted. It may not, I don't know. I shouldn't say. I don't know if it's, I don't know what that is, but I've never heard of such a store, but I'm not sure if it's permitted under the bylaw, but,
There's a lot of liquor licenses in East Milton these days, too.
Not here, there won't be. That has to be approved by the board.
And also by the legislature.
Yeah.
So that's not something that they.
I wouldn't worry about that. I shouldn't say I wouldn't worry about that. That's yet another proceeding, which is not on the table right now.
In terms of the hours of operation, I would assume that the existing hours of operation would be the one that would be in place, so that It wouldn't be an 11 o'clock on this new space.
Yeah, that I think is,
No, it'd be the same.
No, because there's already a special permit condition that's recorded at the Registry of Deeds that sets the hours of operation. So, I think we wouldn't be changing that. They haven't asked for a change of that.
It's 8 PM, Mike.
It's actually, I think we have 9 PM. We
It's
actually
9.
close at 8, though.
Yeah, but it's 9 to
CVS
get the parking out.
CVS stays open a little bit later, though.
Yeah,
9 o'clock tonight. 9 o'clock right now.
yeah.
Steve,
That's it, right now.
Kathleen? Okay. Well, we're gonna call to end this hearing, and we've already continued it once, twice.
Yes.
Um,
I thank you for your
I'm not
patience.
against continuing hearings. People, who routine watches of the Board of Appeals know. But I think it's, as the acting chair, I think it's probably time to move this item for further proceedings by the planning board. I'm a little concerned with the schedule. I'd rather not due respect to the three of you. We'll see you back here next June, asking for an extension. So you are, if we were to vote this, you're on the clock. And I don't mean to rush it at all, because I think there's a lot here, and I think it's a tricky spot, and it's become harder for the people in East Milton over the time as it's got a lot more congested, and there's a lot more activity, and parking's much more of an issue than it was when this special permit and variance were first granted, so, when this variance was first granted. With that said, you've put it to the board, and it's our duty to consider it on the merits, unless you would seek a further extension. It's up to you. Wow.
I don't think so.
Ms. Lombo?
Well, what I don't hear is overpowering opposition. I think the history here, and I live down the street, I'm there all the time, is that, it's an asset to the neighborhood, it's an asset to the town. The McNoses, I'd say, have generally been good neighbors, as best they have been able with the operation that they're running down there. I'd love to see what this redesign of the lot's going to look like, because it's tough. And it's just a layout in general, the way the access and entry and getting out of there can be very tough at times. It always strikes me that at the back of the lot, it's usually empty, and people are tripping over themselves to try to find a spot up front. So the redesign is something I'd like to see how that comes out.
I did bring that with me, by the way, in case anybody had any questions about it. I know it's not before this board, but I think it makes sense, the redesign.
I would think so. I like the fact that the number of parking spaces is not going to be impacted by the proposed addition. I guess you've done as best you can with the design in terms of how it looks to the rear abutters on Franklin Street especially. I like the fact that you're going to attempt to hide the mechanicals. You are staying within the footprint. Whether or not we should add a condition that some food mitigation equipment be utilized, I guess we can talk about that, but in the overall, we're dealing with a special permit off the back of a variance, I guess, but I guess I would tend to look at it favorably at this point.
I agree with Steve. It's a tough spot. And I think that, maximizing as much as they can is a worthy goal. I have the same question about who he's going to find for retail, but that's just a general pessimistic view of the state of retail these days. But I certainly appreciate the design to make sure that you're hiding stuff that you now see. All those mechanicals would be great not to see that. And I think that the design appreciates that factor. And making sure that it's still sort of screened and all that sort of thing. And I think I'm favorably disposed to say. Inappropriate.
Well, I agree with my colleagues. I think it's a thoughtful proposal and a somewhat modest addition, but an important property. And I want to stress how important this property is to the neighborhood. And when I say that, I mean the activities on the property. I mean, as Mr. Lombard testified, it's a resource, but it's also a dominant magnet of activity in an area that is becoming a much more active area. And I'd stress to you that the mitigation of the impacts, given the fact that some of this site is in a residential district, is at a premium. So I appreciate the open house that you held and the outreach that you've done, as evidenced by Mr. Dunn's testimony. But I also think we give a lot of weight to what the residents say. So I'd like to encourage the board to adopt the food equipment mitigation requirement, partly due to the fact that it's been proven to be successful at least 2 other locations in East Milton. It seems reasonable to me, and there wasn't a strong objection from the applicant. I'm also encourage you to listen to the planning board during site plan review, where I think many more of these kinds of issues that are probably more concerning to the board than the standard of a special permit of granting the relief without substantial detriment to the public good and without substantially derogating from the intents of the bylaw, which I think you've met, subject to those conditions. So those are a couple of comments. I think that the retail should be limited to the hours that you currently operate, but should be permitted to the extent that the bylaw permits a particular type of retail. I wouldn't be in favor of limiting it because I'm not in favor of hurting your market position. We really want those spaces to be used. And I think that notwithstanding my own concern about your schedule, I actually wouldn't mind seeing you back here next June to give us an update on all of the improvements. It seems possible, perhaps even likely, that you won't be out there building. So that if you're not, perhaps you could put a tickler in your calendar. We don't want to see you next August, meaning I don't want this approval to be lapsed and having us reconsider it. I'd much rather you come for an update. Let us know how you made out with the planning board, where you are with the renovation to the parking lot, where you are with the stackers, where you are with the design, whether you've continued to elect to go with the brown that you like so much, and anything else that a property as significant as this one would command. I mean, I can't stress to you enough that in a small town like Milton, everybody knows the marketplace, and you're very much aware of that. So with that, I'd like to ask the board to, and subject to those conditions, to grant the special permit and to amend the 1982 variance and to correct the existing nonconformity with respect to the one side lot line setback of where you've got 6 feet where 10 is required in a Residence C. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, so you have your relief from the Board of Appeals. I wish you well with the site plan and the neighbors and the planning board, and perhaps we'll see you in less than 1 year's time.
Thank you very much for your
Okay.
time,
Thank you.
consideration.
It's good to see you all.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with your project.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's your set of these.
Do you want to keep those? Do you want a larger set? Do you have one?
Well, we should have them for the file. I think
Yeah.
that's fine. Thank
Okay, do we
you.
need?
Thank you very much.
Certainly, thank you.
Good job, Steve.
I don't want to write it.
Who's writing this one?
I'll do it. I did the other one on the parking stacker.
You're the best.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
What conditions did you have besides retail limited to hours of operation? Noise, food smell mitigation.
Not noise. That was really it.
Okay.
Retail permitted to the extent the bylaw authorizes it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have to say that.
No, I know.
mean, think, yeah. Okay. Food smell. I couldn't remember what the other one was.
Okay,
Yes, Lon.
We're going to call to order our second hearing of the night. Second hearing of the night upon the application of James A. Haggerty and Susanna Haggerty. I'm sorry. Haggerty. People make that mistake often? Often. All right, I'm going to start over. We're going to call to order our second hearing of the night upon the application of James and Susanna Haggerty, dated May 15, on file with the board for a variance from the terms of section 5A1 of the Milton zoning bylaw. The applicant proposes to build a 24 by 25 third-level addition above the existing two-level portion of the single-family home located at 1066 Hillside Street, Milton. Section 5A1 of the bylaw limits new buildings or new portions of buildings to 2.5 stories and requires that the basement be counted as a story if the first floor is more than 4 feet above the existing grade. The first floor of the existing home is 6.3 feet above the average grade. The property is located in Residence B District, all as set forth in the application. My name is Jeffrey Milton. I'll be acting as the chairman. With me to my left is Kathleen O'Donnell, and with me to my right is Stephen Lundbaum, both members of the board. I have the application as submitted by the Haggertys, a letter to Mr. Haggerty from Mr. Prondak summarizing the reasons for the Haggertys being here and denying the original building permit application, consistent with the advertisement I just read. And I've got a set of plans, a plot plan, by Land Mapping, Inc., Andrew Square, Southie, showing the property, Lot 6B, as well as some renderings showing the front and side elevations of the new house addition at 1066 Hillside that was submitted with the application. I see that the applicants are with us. Welcome to the Board of Appeals. How may we help you?
Thank you. I'm Susanna Haggerty. This is my husband, Jane. We are looking to build an addition on our house. We have lived in this house for 8 years. It was built about 50 years ago. We moved into it when we had 2 children, and we now have 5. So we, and 1 bathroom. So we are seeking.
Okay, just hold up. Can we just, thank you.
Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
We are looking to build a master bedroom and bathroom above what is currently a 1-story dining room and office, and below that is our garage. So I believe the variance that we are seeking is to the 2.5-story bylaw. The denial is counting, and I've read I understand the bylaws, is counting the garage as a story. So the 3rd level, even though it's really the 2nd living level, would violate that 6-foot limitation.
Yeah, by 2 inches or something?
It might be a couple of feet.
Really?
Our house is in the Blue Hills. It's on Hillside Street in the portion that falls between Houghton's Pond and Brookwood Farm, if you're familiar with that area. We have 2 neighbors on each side, and that's the entirety of the neighborhood. No one else is within a half mile of us. We face the Blue Hills. We've spoken with all of our neighbors. None of them have objections to this project plan. We have letters from a couple of them indicating that, if that's helpful. We don't believe that the change would be out of character with the home. We're trying to improve the home, and our neighbors understand that we're actually seeking to improve the appearance of a 50-year-old house that hasn't actually been improved in 50 years. We've been working on that since we moved in, so we think it would be an improvement and wouldn't constitute a hardship or any harm to anyone in the neighborhood or in the town. I think that's it.
Okay. Let me just read these. So these are 2 letters, one from Caitlin and Jenna Calm. They were just here.
Yes. It's an up-and-coming area.
Well, you're in a better spot than they are, as I recall their application. But there were some similarities because they had the driveway that went
Yes,
down as well.
exactly.
Creating the same issue.
Exactly.
We've been notified by James and Susanna Hegarty, proposed project at 1066. We understand the proposed project and the zoning restrictions, they sure do. We are in full support of the project and appreciate the improvements that this project will bring to the neighborhood. We enjoy having the Hegartys as our neighbors and would like to see them be able to expand their living space to accommodate their growing family. So when this neighborhood gets together, they talk about all their doings in front of the Board of Appeals. That must be really super interesting.
Wild parties over in there.
Yeah, we could come. I mean, that'd be nice, I think.
Interesting.
We also have a letter from Peter Walsh, also, who's at 1072, a direct abutter, understanding the zoning restrictions, supporting the project, et cetera. So we thank Mr. and Mrs. Com and Mr. Walsh for the property. I do, for the record, the board is familiar, having heard this similar application very recently. Okay, let me ask the board if they have questions of the Hegartys.
Yeah, so you're not expanding the footprint at all? You're just, yeah, so you're just going up a bit. That's what I thought, but
The
I just
actual
wanted to check.
new roof line will be shorter than the existing.
A little bit short, yeah.
4 feet. It's not gonna be straight across.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, we've had a fair number of these lately where this issue about the sloping,
Yeah.
suddenly you have another floor that you thought you didn't have. So,
I wish it was living space, we wouldn't have this.
yeah.
Mr. Lombo?
So it's a master bedroom and a bath?
Yes.
That's it. And right now you have three bedrooms now, is it?
We have 4 bedrooms and 1 full bathroom for 7 people.
7 people, wow.
Yeah. That's the hardship.
I'd say so. No other questions?
And so when you be finished with the application, the house is going to appear as if it was constructed that way.
Correct.
Uniform paint,
Yes.
uniform fixtures, shutters, whatever is on the,
Yes,
that's your objective.
All matching windows, yep.
And that's, and the roof would be the same color?
yes.
And is the plan, is this 100% designed right now?
Yes.
Is the plan to begin construction this summer?
Yes.
Is your contractor waiting pending the building permit? Okay. And you've spoken to all of your neighbors, all 2 or
Yes.
3 of them?
There are 4 total.
4 total, right, between Brookwood and Blue Hill River Road? is-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have any further questions. Let me ask if there's people in the audience who wish to speak in support of the application. Anybody in the audience wish to speak in opposition to the application? Okay, hearing none in both cases, we're going to, unless my colleagues have further questions, I'm going to call to close the testimony, and we'll deliberate the merits of the application in accordance with the open meeting law. Ms. O'Donnell.
As I said, we've had kind of questions like this come up recently. I like the fact that you haven't expanded the footprint at all. So it's just a really question of the height. I don't see that it's out of character with the rest of the neighborhood. And as you pointed out, the design is going to be similar to what is already there, so.
Mr. Lombo.
Yeah, no, I agree. Looks like it's going to be a nice design, obviously a demonstrated need. I don't know how you've done it so far with 5 kids in 1 bathroom, but, and I noticed a really wildly, oddly shaped lot that sort of, I think, helps us fit you inside the variance statute as well. So overall, I think it's a great application, great design, and I would tend to vote in favor of it.
I agree with my colleagues. I don't have anything to add other than the comments I made during the testimony. And I'll put the vote to my colleagues. All in favor
Aye.
of the
Aye.
variance? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So work with Beverly to get, well, we'll take a couple of weeks to write the application. You work with Beverly to get it, and you'll record that at the Registry of Deeds in Norfolk, in Dedham, and get your building permit. There's a 20-day appeal period, and we wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.
Appreciate your help.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
5 kids in 1 bathroom.
All right, we'll call to order our third hearing of the night upon the application of Carolyn Anna Brayfield dated May 15, 2018, on file with the Board of Appeals for variances from the terms of Section 5A1 and 6C1 of the Milton zoning bylaw. The applicant proposes to remove an existing garage, sunroom, deck, and the current gable-style roof structure and build a 30-foot by 4-inch by 17-foot 4-inch by 2.5-story addition at the left side and a 10-foot by 28-foot by 3.5-story addition along with a 9-foot by 27-foot open deck to the rear of the single-family home located at 127 Elm Street. Section 6C1 requires that new buildings or new portions of buildings be set back a minimum distance of 10 feet from the side property line when the applicant is proposing 5.5. Section 5A1, building heights, limit buildings to 2.5 stories in height. In homes built before 1950, a basement is considered a story if the first floor is more than 6 feet above average grade. The average grade in this location is 6 feet 2 inches. Property is located in a Residence C zoning district. All is set forth in the application. I have on the file the application itself to replace the garage with a new garage and to add a master bedroom and bathroom over the garage, also to extend our kitchen and dining room. And a letter to Ms. Carolyn Anna Brayfield from the building commissioner, along with a set of drawings from the Massachusetts survey consultants. I see the applicant is represented, and welcome to the Board of Appeals. How can I help you?
Thank you. So did you guys not have drawings already? Sorry if they didn't.
Good
make
drawings.
We got them.
Sorry, okay, great. Yeah, so you can see.
You are?
Sorry, my name is Nick Landry. I'm the architect,
And Carlin's husband.
You are who?
Carlin's husband.
the owner's husband.
I'm sorry.
The owner's husband.
I can't.
The
Oh,
owner's
no, it's
husband.
husband.
The owner's husband.
What is your name?
Stephen Ferguson.
Stephen Ferguson. Okay, and where is Carolyn Brayfield?
She's out of town for work. She's in Michigan this week. It was a prior engagement for work she couldn't get off.
Okay, so who owns the home?
We both own the home. Her name is, we're both on the deed.
Okay, and what's your name?
Stephen Ferguson.
S-T-E-P-E.
H-E-N. Ferguson. F-E-R-G-U-S-O-N.
Okay, and you are?
Nick Landry. Landry, and I'm the architect.
Okay.
So I think you got married last summer, right?
Yes.
And they're planning on having a family and trying to, get the house ready, expand the house and whatnot. So we're hoping to get some relief on the setback there. We're also looking to put a little entry, we're gonna do a little mudroom in the front with a little entry overhang there. Which I heard might be something that people haven't done before on the street.
On the,
If you flip to, so you can see the last page, you can see there's an elevation kind of showing the front of the house.
oh, yeah.
If you wanted to flip between the last page, A6, and the fourth page, EX4, those are the existing and proposed elevations. Just to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about.
Oh, this bump out here?
Yep.
That one, okay.
Maybe it's easier if I look at this.
What does
So-
the red line represent here?
The red line on the survey? So that's the new build-out. Yep, so the black line is kind of the existing building, and the red is what we're proposing.
So what's the increase in the total square footage?
I think it's roughly 1,000, I think. is
Yeah,
what we're at
it's
right
like
now.
1,000 to 1,200 square feet.
Seems like a lot on a small lot like that.
Yeah, I think we're still well under the lot coverage.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking up, because.
Sorry?
That's what I'm looking up, because I'm
Oh,
concerned.
okay, yeah, so I mean, yeah, you can look it up there, but they also have it, the surveyor had it here, I don't know if you saw that. Right down there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So this will obviously be a house that they're gonna live in, it's not like a flip or anything like that.
Well, let me just understand this. So the garage is coming down,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you're gonna build a new garage, and there'll be a bedroom above the garage?
Yeah, it's a master bedroom, bathroom.
And then what else is in the garage, above the garage?
I think it'll just be a master bedroom, bathroom.
Is there a direct entry from the garage to the home upstairs in the second level, or only in the first?
No, it'll be the first.
Yeah. And does that door, the new door, is that considered the rear door to the premises?
No,
What's the function of the door?
it'll be a door,
It's next to the garage.
it'll be to go into the hallway. It'll be a hallway with a mudroom and half bathroom at the bottom.
I see.
So that'll be kind of like where you guys probably go most of the time,
Yes.
and if they have guests over, they'll probably come through that front door.
And there'll be a portico introduced into the main home? That's the proposal? And is there any other work being done to the main home?
Well, I mean, we're pretty much wiping the slate clean
Yeah,
inside.
they're taking out
Okay.
the back.
And-
Part of the reason.
No, and then you're gonna build a deck out back?
Yep, I'm sorry, yes, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a sunroom that is there now.
Yeah, there's an existing sunroom, is
Yeah,
correct, yes.
so then they're just blowing out the kitchen and
Go out
expanding
the
that.
kitchen, get rid of the sunroom,
Yeah.
and have like a dining room, kitchen, all in one.
It's amazing what you can find on Zillow when you look at pictures of somebody's house.
All right, questions from the board? You finished with you?
Yeah, sorry.
So do you have any letters or support from the neighbors or anything from the neighbors?
We spoke to all the neighbours, and everybody was in full agreement.
But no letters?
Some of the neighbours said they would come to speak on our behalf.
On your elevation plans, so on elevation 4,
Okay.
so that's the garage with that small window there?
Elevation 4, that's, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So above that window is going to be what, a bedroom?
The master bedroom, yep.
And there'll be no windows on that side?
On that elevation, no.
Is the deck?
Is that something you would prefer to see? I think one of the, you're trying to, so with the setback and everything, obviously, that's where we have the setback issue. I don't know if,
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess that's a good idea.
okay.
Because you're just going to have this little tiny thing?
Well, that little.
That's in the garage.
Yeah, that's in the garage.
Yeah.
Just to bring some light in there, but, so up above where
Yeah,
we're up
there's nothing,
higher.
right.
Yeah, we're not, just so we're not looking down into some.
So it's a whole different roof line.
It is, correct, yeah. So we're, currently the ridge runs, parallel with the street.
Yeah, here, okay, I got it, here it is, yeah. Here's the existing, yeah.
What's the size of the home now?
It's about 2,000.
What would,
Yeah. Right? It's about 2,000.
No, right now it's like 1150.
Oh, sorry.
and what will it be when you finish?
Close on 22, maybe 23.
You're only counting the top 2 floors, right?
Yes, I'm not counting the basement.
So with the basement, we're at about 3. after with the basement before.
Yeah, because you just have mechanicals down there, now you're gonna be putting in another living room and a game room and another bathroom. Yeah, that's a lot of more space.
That's, are you building out a bit of a portico at the front, over the front door? Is that-
Yeah, yep, yeah, have a little,
That's not at all going to impact the front setback at all, right?
that is not going to impact the front setback, no.
What's the point of the bedroom in the basement?
It's just for maybe guests traveling from out of town, bit of privacy, they can be in the basement, you know.
Let's talk about the neighbors. So did you speak to the Bowens?
Owens, I'm not quite sure.
House on the left, looking at your house.
We spoke to all the neighbours and nobody had any issues with it, you know. We did speak to the Bowen, sorry,
the
Mrs.
Bowen.
Bowen, yes, Mrs. Bowen. Yes, sorry.
And how about the people in Wendell Park?
Yeah, they wrote us an email and they're very supportive, you know.
But there's nobody here.
No, there's actually, he's a neighbour.
Okay. So why don't we hear from the neighbors, or the neighbor? Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in support of the application? Sir, approach, please. We're going to get you on the microphone, please.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Just your name and address, please.
Sure, my name is Kieran Lynch, 123 Elm Street.
Oh, you're a direct abutter.
Director Butter, yeah. I'm here in support. We did the same thing ourselves in 2011. And absolutely, these guys should be allowed the same. You know, we basically, these colonials, just for the point, they're all undersized colonials of less than 1,200 square feet originally. And this is one of the last ones. So everybody else is just about built on in some shape or form. So,
Did you talk to any of the other neighbors?
yeah, we've all talked about it, yeah.
How about the Bowens?
Yeah, Mrs. Bowen is in favour, yeah, absolutely, yeah. She's an elderly lady. She's also from Ireland, actually. Just pointed out, yeah.
Where in Ireland?
Who's that?
Where?
So she's from Roscommon. Yeah. So,
And you?
me, I'm from Westmeath.
And you?
So,
Where are you from?
I'm from Worcester.
San Diego for me, so there you go.
Okay. Anything else?
oh, that's it. Just here to support the cause.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch.
No problem.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming out.
No problem.
Any questions, any other questions from the board?
I don't have any.
Ms. O'Donnell?
No, I'm just, as I said, I was a little concerned about the expansion on the lot, but the surveyor has provided that information, so I'm comfortable with that. And looking at the houses in the neighborhood, looks like a number of people have done this already.
Yes, it's pretty common on the street. It's
Yeah.
the second last house on the street that has never been touched.
So for the record, though, the applicant, the testimony is such that the property, when it's finished, it will be in uniform appearance, the color, repainted, new roof.
Yep.
Same shingle color, consistent treatment of the, under the first floor with respect to the interplay between the first floor and the ground.
So it's this one, right?
There's no basement underneath the addition, is there? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a full basement.
Full basement. What is the slab on grade reference?
For the garage.
Just, that's what I meant. I meant the, under the garage. No basement under the garage.
No basement in the garage.
Right. Okay. All right, we're gonna, unless the board has further questions, we'll call end the evidentiary portion of the hearing, and we'll vote on the application in accordance with the open meeting law. Mr. Lumbo?
Yeah, no, I just trying to conceptualize it, but And I Googled it before I came here, and I'm looking at it again now, and you can see that the other homes on the street look like they were done well. And it's a good-sized project you're undertaking. It's a good-sized addition, but the design looks like you've got some real good ideas there, some good thoughts. Looks like it was well thought out. And this is, was it Bowen next door?
Bowen was the closer abutter, yeah.
Right. She's the most affected. She's appears to be on board. It appears that you maybe had an idea to mitigate on her side with just the one window over the garage, and to kind of keep it everybody's privacy in mind. So in the overall, I think it's a good design, good plan, neighborhood support. I would tend to vote in favor of it, the application.
Ms. O'Donnell?
I agree with what Steve has said. I mean, as I said, I was concerned about the lot coverage and the size, and increasing the size, but I think it's a very nice design, and I think you've tried to mitigate that as best you can. And as I said, certainly looking at what the current layout of the place is, you can see why you might want to have maybe something a little bit more roomy in the kitchen.
I agree. I can't add anything to what my colleagues have said. All in favor of the variances that are requested, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you've got your variances from the section 5A1 and 6C1 as requested. Take a month or so to write it up, and you'll work with Ms. Sutton to get the variances themselves. There's a 20-day appeal period, and we can record it at the Registry of Deeds in Dedham. And we wish you a lot of luck with your project. Good luck to you.
Good luck.
Okay. Thank you for coming out. Okay. So this meeting is adjourned.